Waiting for the intro music.
That's right.
Here we go.
And the goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show.
Yeah, so through many iterations, and we finally landed on the weirdest one by far.
Yeah, simple feelings, and boom, you got a sound.
I remember this one time. I'd been writing some songs, and I went out. I'm just going right in on this story. I went out, and so I was.
The story's longer than the song itself. We'll go ahead and play it.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band. Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot, up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Tonight, some springtime Knucklehead Banter with Phillip and David. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, everybody. I am your host, Philip Reese.
Hello, and I'm David Moore, your co-host.
And this is...
Your next favorite band.
You went with the Shatner thing again.
I'll try harder next time to Shatner it up even more so that you can Nimoy on the other end of that whole thing.
I will try to match you.
Leonard Nimoy's voice is like really low, so you're going to have to get really close to the microphone.
I will always be your friend.
I will always be your friend.
So 7 people got that.
Star Trek 2, Star Trek 2 reference.
Right, way at the end.
All the way there. Spoiler, by the way, Spock dies at the end of that.
And yet doesn't.
Well, yeah, they literally tell you that literally at the end.
Correct. Anyway, so here we are. Apologies for the late start, but 2 things on my end. One, I'm in Chicago.
Yeah, Phil's in a different time zone, so it's even less late for him.
Correct. It's less late. And it's more late for Nova Scotia, I suppose.
Well, look, first of all, I'm looking at the number of people watching right now, and the number of Nova Scotians tuned in right now is worth counting.
Yeah, right. You can do it on one hand. But I also was listening to a track that I'm super into right now. It's called Black Earth, Wisconsin, which I do kind of enjoy when an artist names a song after a city. That's pretty cool. The artist is called Rat Boys. And
I didn't realize that was the name of the city. I just thought it was something they were discussing what they felt about Wisconsin.
No. Apparently that's the name of the song. It's Black Earth, Wisconsin. But I can't get enough of it. And I was enjoying it before I parked the car. And if you go now to go enjoy Black Earth, Wisconsin by Rat Boys, you will understand why you need 6 to 7 minutes of your life to go do that.
You can pause it. We'll wait right here while you go do that. Okay, great. You're back. Thanks.
Yes, good plan. So before we get into our topics for this evening, David, you know I like to be highly topical.
Sure. I mean, the Star Trek 2 reference is a perfect example of
that. Right. Yeah, I want to be like on the razor's edge of topical.
And by razor's edge, you mean the dragging, rusted, the
Correct.
back edge.
Yeah. Right.
Still a razor.
But this is just announced. A political candidate for next year, for 2024. The Because I Got High rapper Afro Man just announced his candidacy for president.
Oh, he's going. I mean, just skip everything. Go right to the top.
Correct. And you know, I'm not looking to mock this because I do think anybody who wants to put themselves out there.
Sure. I mean, go for it.
Right. And I do want to super encourage people to vote. Like that's probably my major thing. But I do think there's an element of awesomeness about this one, and it's music related. So topical, music related, presidential. Afro Man
has he
now
discussed
now
his
a candidate
platform? I mean, is he actually have like a full platform, or is he really running on just that song's novelty factor more than anything else? Like,
no, I don't think there is there's not a specific thing that was part of the announcement.
Okay.
Which good for him. Like, you know, let's
who knows? I mean,
right.
He could be great at it, and he just happens to be that was his first career.
Correct. So Afro Man running for president. You know, it's never too early to talk about the presidential election because what are we
right at this point
18
in time?
months? 18 months away?
May of 2023. We are 18 months.
Yeah.
We're 18 months away from. Can we, I get it, it's not too early, but at the same time, I feel like we're always in the midst of an election thing happening.
Well, right. We're always in the midst of something worth something. I even think today was election day.
Today is primary day across many states, including Pennsylvania, where I am.
Right. And so there was a reason to get out there today should you want to advocate for your candidate for your party. But yeah, no, you're right. It's never not the right time to be putting stuff out there.
Yeah, I just feel like sometimes we should just get a breather because literally, you know, we get the last president elected and the person that was defeated is already announced the day after that the candidacy would be challenged and we would be running against each other again. And it's just a little bit of breathing room.
Correct. Yes. Maybe also make some progress. Put forth a few.
Now we're getting into the logistics of the electoral college and gerrymandering.
Yeah. Oh, that's so brutal. Anyway, not a big political person. I just thought it was
We've
awesome.
gone way off track of what the people have tuned in for. Oh, it looks like it's my show now. I think I lost Phil. So, Phil is in a hotel. Phil, are you back?
I am back. I'm back now. I did get a message.
Phil is on a hotel Wi-Fi, so
correct. Yes.
You know, we may have an interesting conversation of just me.
Yeah. At any given moment, it might be just David Moore.
Well, I mean, the show needs a new name, and that's what we're going with.
Correct.
Determined right now. It doesn't need a new name, but we're just...
Your more favorite Moore.
There we are. Your next favorite Moore.
I had a big thing that came down that said, your connection stinks. Anyway.
Got to watch those technical terms.
Right. Yes, exactly. Let's bring up, so what we enjoyed recently was the announcement of the Levitt Pavilion SteelStacks.
Yeah, so Phil and I are fortunate enough to live within walking distance of an amazing venue that's sponsored by the Levitt Foundation, which sponsors, I think it's 7 of these stages. They also sponsor pop-up festivals and stuff in other cities.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful stage with a beautiful space. It's the largest permanent concert structure in Bethlehem, right? I think by capacity.
Oh, for sure.
Because the one for Musikfest is bigger, but it's not permanent. And so they announced the lineup a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
A little longer than that.
And they do pretty much live concerts Thursday, Friday, Saturday, many Sundays.
Right.
Starting this weekend.
This weekend, which will be May 19th.
May 19th, 2023. And then it will run through Labor Day weekend. I'm sorry.
It's a little bit. It's a couple weeks into September, I think, is when it wraps up.
And I just think And the other thing to understand is in those other cities, many of these same artists are performing there. So it has the ability to carry over to these other venues or be just hyper local. And so I think the Levitt Foundation does this beautiful job of bringing, free music to the communities that they're in. And supporting the local musicians, but also the traveling, like touring artists. I just think it's a great, situation that's going on.
What you have on the screen is actually a perfect example of what you just said. So Vanessa Collier and Roberta Lee are the first two this Friday and Saturday of the 19th and the 20th. They're both national touring musicians, sort of a funk jazz kind of thing, sort of a Americana country kind of thing. And then the following weekend is friend of the show, Emily Drinker, who we spoke to back in, was it January?
Yes, it was January.
And then she was also on our Winter Wonder Jam.
Yeah,
and
a couple weeks before that,
Right, so there's a local musician from Philadelphia who's being highlighted on this stage.
Yep. And then Hazy Cosmic Jive.
Yeah, so just for the general nature, as Phil's scrolling through this, a lot of the times what we have is, you'll have a combination of because these artists are touring through the stage and it's a community concert, you'll end up with things that are back to back that are just like a Latin performer followed by a tribute band, or in this case, so we have the Ataris, which are like an independent sort of angsty alt rock band, and then Jackson Pines, which is a few days later, which also a friend of the show we had on the show. And it's just awesome to see these kind of things just show up right next to each other.
And everything we're pulling up right now is all free.
All of these are free. Yeah,
every single one of these are a free show. And again, if you have a Levitt stage in your reachable neighborhood,
oh, please go.
Right, exactly. You need to support it because it's just an incredible, incredible offering.
Yeah, and everything we're seeing here. I mean, we have there's Hotel Fiction. They're listed for June 22nd. Who we interviewed on the show last fall, and on top of it, Phil and I saw in concert. Great show. There's a listing there, and things we're mentioning doesn't mean it might be the thing that you want to see. We've got a salsa band that just went by, Mother Folk, who's an indie rock band. They have the Allentown Symphony coming to play. These are all over the place. I mean, so everything from, you have a Guns N' Roses tribute band,
right? Who I'm sure a lot of people would love that one.
I'm sure for some people that's going to be a great night.
Yep.
And then we have a whole weekend of just blues music because they have it's blocked in the middle of it. They have a blues festival.
Here's Argonaut and Wasp.
Right, and then Sons of Mysterio, who were playing the night before that, are a duo who do classical music inspired with hip-hop rhythm. So if you've also seen Black Violin or heard of Black Violin, they're
exactly
in a similar vein to that. Not exactly the same, but they definitely treat them as mentors. Definitely worth checking out.
Yep, 100%. And like we said, Argonaut and Wasp.
Yeah.
Reservoir Hill is another great local band.
Solis. So anybody, so Solis is worth mentioning for two reasons. So there's a whole jam band thing that she's been associated with. She toured with Trey Anastasio from Phish. She's played with Dave Matthews. Both of these performers have come and performed at her sets. So she's not just somebody that rolls into theirs. They show up for hers. But on top of it, on a contemporary side, she's also played with Lizzo. She was Lizzo's guitarist when she played on Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
So she's that one's one that I was immediately on my books because I'm really looking forward to that one.
Totally. And Bumpin' Uglies is another great one.
I feel like that's a name. It's like Goo Goo Dolls that they determined early on, and then we're sort of stuck with it. It feels like that kind of thing. I actually think Certainly So is going to be an interesting show. It's going to be a mellower kind of show, but I think it's going to be good. There's a lot of stuff here. And then we're going to get to the end here, which is I was joking with Phil right before we started. I was literally listening to this band. On the 8th is a band called Metalachi.
Yep.
Which is literally a band that is a mariachi band that covers hard rock and metal songs. And I just want to see that.
Yeah, that sounds really, really cool.
It sounds damn interesting, at least.
So yeah, that's the Levitt lineup, and we probably didn't even do it justice, even though we touched on a lot of the big ones. There were 4, we call them returning favorites.
Right.
Emily Drinker, Hotel Fiction, Jackson Pines, and Argonaut&Wasp. So there were people who we've interviewed that we would highly recommend you go check out. And
all of them will be great.
And then also, if you want to, like, check out the interview either beforehand or afterwards, because it just enhances what you have as far as an experience.
You connect with the artists as people. You get a chance to understand why or what type of music they're trying to produce. And that's really, I think, it gives you some insight. You don't have to be the all-knowing oracle, but it does give you a little bit of picture beyond I just heard this band. Instead, now you've spent 45 minutes with them and you get an idea, in your next commute, you can check that out, or you want to put it on YouTube, you can, check it out and get an idea. And some of them were kind enough to perform, so you even get a little taste of what the music sounds like.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly. And that's what we genuinely hope for. Like, we hope that you would check out our show not for us, but for the artist. And be able to enhance your enjoyment of their set or their, the show you go see. Yeah. If that can happen, awesome. And then if you like what you heard and you're like, wait, who else are they bringing on? That's the added benefit for us. So that's all.
Absolutely.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and everything we bring on, you may not be a fan of, and that is okay. The reality of it is though, we hope that we're bringing on something that at least keeps you going, what's next?
Yeah, and entertained. Like,
entertaining.
That's always the hope.
We don't want to bore anybody. Look at this. I mean, right now we already talked about a metal mariachi band, for Pete's sakes.
And also, like,
and
within
Star
that,
Trek and Afro Man. I mean, come on, the bingo card is like way off the charts.
Yeah, the bingo card is totally filled out. Someone hit bingo tonight.
Yeah, already.
Right, but yeah, the hope is that we bring you who you will like next. That's in the name of the show. Yep. But that you keep coming back for more. Like that's kind of what we're hoping for.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We would love to have everybody follow us or subscribe or whatever way you want to consume this. You want to do the video? Great. You want to do the audio? Great. Like all of the above is also great. Like whatever floats your boat. But we would love it if you would leave a review for podcast stuff, because that helps with that, or like and subscribe on the necessary video platforms in different ways. They each have their own little method for that, so I'm not going to go through all of that because we'll spend 20 minutes telling you how to push a thing.
Right, exactly. And ultimately, we really just want you to like the music.
Oh my God, absolutely. Well, that's why we're here, because you and I like music so much. I mean, that's literally, this all started over conversations about those kind of things.
Exactly. And speaking of conversations about those things, and I mean, one day this person will be on the show, but recently I went to go see Seal in concert.
Oh, yeah. You and I talked right before and the day after you went to that show.
Yes. And so I have a picture here to share.
Former Mr. Heidi Klum?
Former, yes. Super, it was at the Met in Philly, and great venue for what he was doing. And he was so impressive. Like, first of all, I guess maybe you do, but like, you don't realize how many amazing songs he has.
Sure.
And then he just goes out there and crushes them in a way that is different for me. Like, if you think about the bands that I like, it's more kinetic. It's more, maybe not vocal driven. And he's like almost 80% vocal driven.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is Seal, and all the band is there to enhance his personal vocal performance for that night.
Right. And so with that, it was like one of these things where it was like so different for me, but I was so all in on it. And like, he just is a special musician. Like, I think he writes songs in a completely different way.
Well, I think
put my finger on it.
It's worth noting on part of that. So I know a little bit about his songwriting method, at least his early songwriting method, is he was writing songs before he could play an instrument. And if I'm not mistaken, it's because he has perfect pitch. And he was able to record all of the tones of what he wanted. So Kiss from a Rose was recorded that way. That was the example. There's a really cool video you can look up online about that with a guy named Rick Beato, who does fantastic music breakdowns, who does a whole, like it's an hour or something like that, breakdown of this damn song. And he talks to Seal about it. And that's part of what you're talking about. It's that kind of thing where it's sort of this, well, I'm going too far off the point, but the point being is he does work in a different way.
Right. And I think that his pitch was certainly on display that night because it was amazing as we did the math, like almost 60-year-old, like that he was an absolute, like just musicianship, like just he was a great singer and entertainer, but then again, like you can't deny the songwriting, like how he constructed a song that was so unconventional, like and so I have one. So I recorded, I don't know if I was supposed to or not, but I recorded
you did now,
right? Exactly. Well, we'll play it here. This is the song Killer, which to me is like a great pop song, but one that maybe not everyone immediately thinks of as, hey, that's what I'm going to put on. But to me, this is what I would put on.
Right.
So let's check out some Seal Killer live from the Met. Enjoy. I mean, you can see a lot of it on display there.
Yeah, also, this is from, for reference, this is what, 32 years old right now, which is just bananas in my mind.
Right.
But it is, this first Seal album is amazing. It's one of my
insanely
favorites. Actually, the one right after it, too, is absolutely stellar. I'm not... Right. His later stuff is actually really good, too. I feel like I'm just focusing on early material, but this song is just so killer.
You're right. Well, literally
there.
But like, I hope it's coming through. Like, I shot this from the balcony, like,
right,
and it still sounded this good, and it looked this good, and
the venue it definitely helps with that too, because that the Met has it's a former. For reference, so the Met in Philadelphia is a venue that was built in the 19 teens, maybe 1920s.
Yeah,
It was an opera house, then a movie house, and like a lot of places, it was shut down. It actually became a church for a little while.
Yep.
I think it's actually owned or co-owned by some sort of investment firm and Live Nation at this point in time, and they did a massive renovation on it, and it's now back to its sound
and good for them, like
glory, because it's a beautiful place.
It is. So, this is about halfway through this song. He goes into the crowd, and I hope you can watch this, because this becomes this glorious dance party. I mean, world-renowned, uber-talent Seal is now in the crowd of the Met, dancing. And the security people don't know what to do, because they're like,
they should dance.
They should dance.
But yeah, they gotta stand there and look.
And now
like,
he goes up on the seat.
I'm gonna stand on the chair, and they're like, they got their supervisor in their earpiece, like, get him off that chair.
I know. I'm sure these security people are just like, I don't know what to do.
Phil, you work in underwriting. How is that covered?
That is not covered in the slightest.
Chair slippage?
No, right? Yeah, there's none of that. Outstanding. I mean, just...
Oh, I don't want to sing along. Let's not do that.
No,
that feels like one of these, like, no, you handle that. You're being paid.
Yeah, so Seal, incredible performer. Just...
Did he perform any... He had an album, maybe he had two of them, in the early 2000s. I think they were called Soul and Soul 2, I think. Where he did a whole bunch of classic... classic R&B songs, maybe some early 70s stuff too. Did he do any of those songs, or was it all just his...
I don't think so. Okay. I think it was all 1 and 2.
Oh, so he was focused on the anniversary tours, because I think it is the 30th anniversary of the second tour.
Correct.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And still, it didn't feel like a review. Like, it didn't feel like a cruise boat. Like, it just was this amazing evening. Like, he's
gonna have a top-notch band. I mean, like, he's not gonna get slouchy musicians. I mean, those guys sounded great. You know, I mean, that, you know.
Yeah, and the bassist was the bassist from the Buggles. So
it's Trevor Horn. So he's not just the bassist from the Buggles. He is also his producer. He is the person responsible for all of that. And now we're going to get real nerdy. He is also the former lead singer of Yes. And he sang on 2 Yes albums. Along with the fact was responsible for a whole pile of pop hits. Trevor Horn is a monster.
Correct. And so that's his backing band. And he referred to it as his...
Did the Buggles open the show?
He did, yes.
Trevor Horn, did he... I mean, it was the with the keyboardist, too, so that would have been Jeff Downes as the keyboardist. Or was it just Trevor Horn solo?
No, it's quite possible.
So Jeff Downes is the keyboardist, who is the keyboardist from the Buggles, who went on to become the keyboardist for Asia. He's the person responsible for, like, writing Asia's hits.
Whole continent?
The whole thing. The whole thing. Like, I mean, you would think it would probably not be some white dude named Jeff Downes, but you're wrong. I mean,
right,
it's
but
right
that's
in the
the
name.
Weird part.
It's right in the name. I don't have any. This isn't about me.
Someone in Kazakhstan was like, "I want to play keyboards," and they're like, "I'm sorry,
we already got a British guy, and
you have to talk to Mr. Downes.
He signed up first."
So yeah, let's close out Seal.
Let's put a seal. Let's seal that one up.
Let's seal that one up with just the fact that he's incredible. The band is incredible. The music.
I'm jealous that I would have loved to have gone to that show.
Yes.
That would have been. I would have taken back row seats for that. Like that was be one. You had the advantage of having fantastic seats, but I would have taken just the I was there seats.
Yeah. So loved it, and there will be some more clips coming, because there was a few others that I snuck out, and I would love to kind of stitch them together. And it didn't seem like he minded too much, because there was a lot of that happening right in front of him. And
I saw that when they was in the crowd there, like all of the people had their phones.
Right.
I was at another show for the Met that had a very different policy, so much so that they threw people out for recording things.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, it was clearly stated on every bit of signage.
And he just didn't seem to have as much of a...
everyone's got their own take.
policy on that, and we've talked about that before. Like I appreciate that because we want to bring it to our audience.
Yeah,
So,
I understand. I actually understand both sides of the coin. Like I actually on this one am and like I completely understand your point of view and why that is something you want to do. The other problem that a lot of these artists have is there's some people that set up their camera and will record the entire show and just put it on YouTube.
yeah, right.
Versus what we're trying to do, which is a very different thing.
Yeah, and so we just want to share it. And if we made Seal your next favorite band, then fantastic.
Yeah, if we introduce you to Seal, dope. Like you've got a lot of stuff to go check out that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that first and second album, incredible.
And you're also then going to end up watching a Batman movie just to get the whole experience. But
That's true.
Yeah.
Not a great one, but still entertaining.
It's still a Batman movie. I mean, you know.
Still great. But so in addition to... we talked about, so springtime brings festival announcements. And so we had the Levitt stage. And like we talked about, SteelStacks was one of them. Levitt has others. If you're somewhere nearby a Levitt stage, it's a great experience. Go learn
and
more
they also,
about.
as I mentioned, they also sponsor a whole bunch of sort of like these pop-up ones that happen in like the Levitt will sponsor. I know they're doing one. It's like a dozen different cities across the United States that they're also sponsoring for this sort of thing.
Yeah, so check that out, and if you're anywhere near Bethlehem, the performers that we announced, please come check them out. David and I will be at a good number of them, so let us know that you're there. Shout us out on social media. But
come say hi. We'll be happy to chit chat.
Exactly, 100%. So the other festival that we have, obviously, that we talk about a ton is Musikfest. And recently they started to put out there who their free stage artists would be. So it's not about an announcement of a schedule yet.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's so many bands that is still probably being logistically.
But this list that we're bringing up on the screen right now is roughly 300 or so of the 400. So it's probably 75% of what they have out there.
Yep.
But I'm just going to pull up here.
So yeah, the list is pretty exhaustive.
Right. So the ones that are, again, like we always like to highlight, returning favorites.
Yeah, I think that's a good place, I think, to start. There's a couple new ones that I'm pretty excited about, too, but let's talk about the returners.
Returning favorites would include Dirty Dollhouse, Dylan Zangwill, Fox Royale, Jon Worthy, Pepperwine, The Accidentals.
Yeah, the Accidentals coming back to is the one that I think of the returning ones. That
that's the one we're going to stop the world for.
That's the one I'm most excited about at this point in time.
Yes, me too. Groove Merchants, They're There, which is the Radiohead cover tribute band, and Tioga. So those are the people who we've had on the show.
Oh, and then Billy Bauer, too. You had him on in the live stream last...
That's true. Billy Bauer and Chasing Daylight, which is...
And also Seth
Siegfried.
Witcher.
And Seth Witcher,
you're right. Seth Witcher on last August.
Yes, that's true. So I guess the reason why they didn't trigger my returning favorites...
Well, because you did them as part of that sort of live stream versus individual episode thing.
They didn't have their own episode dedicated to them, which we've been talking about, and we're trying to schedule. And I guess... maybe for me, mentally, that's when they cross the Rubicon, but...
that makes sense. I just want to make sure if anybody stumbles across them and they find it in our information, they were on, but they were part of when, at least last year, I don't know what's going to happen this year.
Well, also, not only were they on the Musikfest live stream, but both Billy and Bobby were part of the Winter Wonder Jam.
Correct.
So they've had multiple instances, so they definitely should be considered in the returning favorites, and I kind of blew that one, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a few coming that I'm excited about that I haven't seen before, but I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, talk to me about those.
So American Hotel, I believe it's
up there.
American Hotel System.
American Hotel System, there they are.
And so there's a band called Bandits on the Run.
That's hugely high on my list.
It's funny. I saw them show up, and I already had them. So via Apple Music, which is what I subscribe to.
Yep.
They were one of the bands that popped up as one of those David Station, and it just sort of came on the one day. And I have a playlist just called Check Out. So if one of those songs comes on, I'll throw it on that playlist so I can when I'm walking around the neighborhood, I'll listen to it. And so I listened to one song, and now I'm listening to more of them. And like,
Yep.
they don't have a ton of material out there as far
Yes.
as what they've released as far as studio recordings, but I'm really looking forward to see the 3 singers. It's a totally unique kind of thing going on.
Multiple unique. So one little top secret thing that I'll leak here is I had already reached out to them to try to bring them on a show. And got no response, which good for them. It's not a matter of anything other than just that's how into it I will be and you will be.
Yeah, it's also the reality of trying to communicate. I mean,
100%. Like, right. We'll come out of left field. It's not about that. It's more about I'm trying to share, like, that's how awesome they are, because both of us have already realized that they are an incredible performer.
Yeah.
And the other neat thing about them is they've created each one of them a separate persona of when they're on the stage.
Oh yeah.
So like that's why I wanted to talk to them, because it's like, okay, you're this person who writes music, but then when you're on the stage, you're this other person.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Anyway, I just can't wait to get to know them more, even if it's just to go watch them perform at Musikfest. If we never get to interview them,
so be it. But yeah,
right. Best of luck to them. It has nothing to do with anything other than just a total admiration for what they're doing. I really, really am so psyched for them to be at Musikfest.
Yeah, one of the things I think it's worth noting, because a lot of people may not know this, is how often you and I will have these moments where we'll pick the same things, because Phil and I will compare notes. I'm sure that's not a shocking thing to people, but we'll do it after we've both picked a whole bunch of things. And it's one of these, well, how many do you have? And like literally it's 50% is almost always crossover.
Yes.
And then anything.
But it's not on, like, we don't do it in the moment. We do it separately.
Oh yeah. No, it's completely separate. We'll even show up and not even know the other person was going to be there.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah. So those are early on the list. There's 300 here. I haven't had a chance to dig into every single one of them yet. I'm going to be honest, because 300 is a lot.
Yep.
For me, I can cross off checking out any of the tribute bands simply because that's not where I want to spend my time.
Yep.
We're on a Your Next Favorite Band podcast, but for some people that may be how they want to spend the evening. There's also a series of party bands that'll be there if you're there with some friends and you just want to go hang out and have a good time.
Yep.
Like that's there. There is a lot of cool jazz bands that are listed this year that is pretty interesting.
Yep.
They have a special jazz venue that's set up indoors during Musikfest. So if that's your thing, that is an option for you. Like they actually have a lot that have been listed so far this year.
Yeah, and I'm slowly scrolling through the list.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if anything jumps out at me as why you're Judah Kim.
Judah Kim should be
relatively local artist.
Great.
He's from Philadelphia.
Yep.
Guitarist. Sort of a bit of a oh God, what's his name? It doesn't matter. I was trying to compare him to somebody else, and it doesn't matter if I can't remember.
So this is someone who I'm actually super interested in seeing, Kufnats. Kufnats and Christine Elise. So he is a rapper, and she plays harp, I think. Something really interesting.
I'm already there. You don't have to tell me anything else. I'm already there to at least go like this.
Yes.
Need to see that.
Correct. So yeah, mark down Kufnats. Max Swan is another one. He's coming up. Here we are. Max Swan. Here he is. Very, very cool. He plays saxophone, but it's very like jazzy, just late night, awesome type music. The Tisberries is a great Philly band.
So we just went past Mike Lorenz. So Mike Lorenz was on the show in the live streams. We mentioned
another one who was on the live.
Yeah, so this will be his trio. So that will be his most avant-garde of his jazz ensembles.
Correct. Arkai, who we missed earlier on.
Oh, Arkai is going to be actually. No, you're right. That was way at the beginning. Arkai is going to be really interesting.
Yep.
It's a violinist and a cello player, but they use electronica and sampling and layering, and it's they should be really interesting.
Totally.
Tons of energy.
And they play in the Vespers, which is a very cool venue. Mm-hmm. And we've already kind of engaged with them that they may come on the live stream at Godfrey Daniels. So that would be very cool.
As Phil has just mentioned, it looks like there's going to be a live stream again this year from Godfrey Daniels, like last year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Moonroof, also good. Mystic Fool.
So yeah, Mystic Fool is it's a whole band, but it's really one guy. He's the
Right, Galen.
yeah, and he plays on stage. He's the vocalist and plays everything through an electric ukulele.
Yep.
Along with the backing band, and that should be an extremely energetic show.
Yep. And he has new music coming out this Friday. So
it's right now.
Yes, like
yeah,
imminently, and it's very, very cool music. I just have to be honest, like it's
hard to define.
Right,
completely.
right.
Yeah,
I want to say new agey, but I don't want to throw anybody off.
Not,
of that.
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to go check it out a little bit. I mean, it's Mystic with a K if you're not seeing this on the screen.
Right. Shamar Allen is coming back again. That's great.
That's going to be great. Shamar Allen's going to be great.
Shamar Allen is a New Orleans style jazz artist. He plays a trumpet and has a whole backing band, and it's just awesome. And then the Black Opry. I don't know how they're doing that because
that's good. I don't know how they're going to do that either. I'm going to be really intrigued by that.
Roberta Lee, who's playing on the Levitt stage this weekend, she's in the Black Opry. So
I don't know if she's still part of it, but at least she was. She had toured as part of it.
Yeah, so this is just one of those things where it's like that is a unique, special opportunity.
Yeah,
that when you get that chance, you should go see it.
Yeah, there are times when opportunities present itself that you're going to kick yourself for not taking advantage of it. And the fact that it is free.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Makes it, your excuses start dropping way down.
Exactly. So that's where, like, whenever that's announced, whenever the Black Opry is playing, we should all make our way over there and enjoy what that is, because it's just something special.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, and then some of they've mentioned before this, there was 3 free stages they announced, performers that are sort of the bigger name free ones that they announced.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's their opinion. Like,
I'm saying that from sort of like a record sales perspective.
Right. So Wheatus, I agree with. Wheatus is, I think, amazing.
Yeah, they're going to have Magic, who are...
And Magic with an exclamation point, and then Devin Allman and Donovan Frankenreiter.
Right, so Devin Allman is Greg Allman's son, as in the Allman brothers.
Right.
And so you can know exactly what you're going to expect from that.
Right.
But those are some of the ones they pushed those out. Those 3 specifically a little earlier.
Correct, and I think those are great ones as well. Especially Wheatus. Like, I think they're awesome. I've seen them a couple times. They're going to come on the show. They've agreed to an interview, and I think that'll be cool as we lead up to Musikfest. But I just think, between what's on the Levitt stage, the Musikfest stage, and everything in between, and then hopefully what you have nearby you, it's going to be a great spring, summer, fall. Like,
yeah, we should this year, 2023, should be a big year for concerts because of pandemic restrictions basically being nil in a lot of places, with the fact that a lot of these bands can finally tour, like commence a full tour.
Yeah.
So it should be a lot of things going on and be able to see a lot of great shows.
Agreed. I mean, I just think it's so nice to be headed into that time frame and, be able to start to bask in that, because there's these just incredible venues, these incredible musicians that are being presented to us who are going to put out their talent and their songwriting and their heart, and it's free.
For a lot of the ones the Bethlehem shows that we're talking about are free.
Yeah, right. So we are super lucky here. Other cities, super lucky.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that can take advantage of this, especially if your city or town does a weekend festival or something like that. Like, try and take advantage of that stuff, because, it may be some local band and somebody just starting out, but you never know when that just starting out person, when you can say, I saw them. When people were like, how did you see that? And
there's also, like, I think what Musikfest always shows me is I didn't think I would like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's that element of like not just supporting somebody who is incredible, who is before their time, but there's this flip side of I got massive enjoyment out of something that I didn't even realize. Like again, like our whole genre defiant element. Like I went to go see this band because they were free and it was bluegrass, but I don't like bluegrass. Oh wait, yes I do. Or
yeah, it's amazing what you'll find out.
I don't like surf rock. Oh wait, yes I do.
Especially when it's Serbians. But there's also the other side of it, which is because of like a festival, like Musikfest has lots of stages, but even if if your town has a single stage pop up, they're doing a weekend jazz festival, you get to go see people, you get to go spend time, these musicians change out, and you may have something that's a mellow jazz followed by something that's much more hard fusion jazz, but followed by this, and you get to experience all of that, and you get to spend time with your community, and you get to do all these things, and that's awesome.
Right. And even if it's just like, oh, I had some good food and I hated the music, that still wasn't a bad way to spend your night. Like,
correct. Yeah, I know. Definitely, especially if, a lot of places let you bring a picnic, like depending on your town.
Sure.
Like wow, what an evening. Like,
right, exactly. So long way to go to say,
go see a concert.
Go see a concert, especially if it's free, and support local art. And
absolutely.
And if you have the Levitt organization in your town, support it because it is a very unique and special experience.
Oh, it's worth. Speaking of Bethlehem and local ones, what is the name of the series they do in the Rose Garden?
Oh, that's put through.
That's the city that does
the
that.
Mayor's office. Yeah.
What is it called?
I think it's just music in
Rock in the Park, Music in the Park. Either way, but it's the same idea where there's an old band shell that was built way back in the day, and but they now bring bands there and they play in this beautiful park that actually just got a beautiful, upkeep, swing with this whole new trail installed and everything like that, and that couldn't be closer to my house than anything.
Right. And if you don't support it, you'll be sad when
they won't bring them back if people don't attend these things. And so you're also helping seeing how your community reacts to these things and react.
Exactly. Yeah. So get out there and support local music and local businesses and
absolutely,
the local nonprofits that make it all happen. So, I just love this moment because it's on the fringe of it all, and it's so exciting.
Yeah, we're sitting. It feels like you're in like a race, and you know that the cars are lined up and they're getting ready to start, and there's the smell off the asphalt and everything like that. But none of it's happened yet.
Correct. So lots of fun things here for Bethlehem for us, but hopefully for you all.
It's a lot of places are in this same sort of situation. Like the other towns that are doing these things or cities that are doing these things, and then you also have those big festivals that are they're staging out through the summer.
All right, Phil. Let's say goodbye to everybody.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Next Favorite Band. We'd like to sincerely thank Phillip and David for bringing on the Knucklehead Banter and supporting Levitt Pavilion, Musikfest, all of the local musicians and everyone performing who they talk about. We're going to share as many of those links in the show notes as we possibly can. Spotify and YouTube and all that good stuff. And this way you can like and subscribe on the socials. As always, our hope here is to bring you your next favorite band. And so this is just the beginning. We are going to have a ton here in the spring, summer, and fall as we enter and carry through the festival season. So there's lots of good experiences upcoming. And if you would do us a favor and give us a review and subscribe, that would be amazing because it really does help us here and get our the name out there and what we're trying to do for everyone. So we really hope that you liked this evening and everything we brought to the table here and everything we've got coming up, and we really would like to catch a live show together soon.